All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's talk NFL Week 13. We had a good Thursday. You should have gone at least 2-0 on Thursday. We like the Bears and the Falcons. And had I done a little bit better, or excuse me, not the Falcons. We like the Bears and the Saints. And we were seeing that Bills upset was real. And had I done a little bit better research, it would have been even more clear that that was the Bills' game. And I realized that all season I've been forgetting to take into account the division and conference records, and I don't know how I've been skipping that all year, but I will be certain not to skip it for the rest of the season. The out-of-conference record told the story for the Bills and Dallas game, so we'll review that. And we're definitely going to look at the division and conference records for all the games this week. I think there's some major tells in the division and conference records in light of it being Week 13. Any of you want to get ahead of things, just go look at the division record, for example, for the Colts and Titans, and tell me what you think is going to happen in Week 13. So, let's review the Thanksgiving games, and then let's get on with the Sunday games. So, again, Thanksgiving equaled 66. We thought that 66 might be the number on Thanksgiving. The Bears had a chance to improve to 6-6, plus they were playing the Lions. Lions equal 66. It's Week 13. 13 is the sixth prime number, so being 6-6 in Week 13 makes a lot of sense. Plus you have the Lions and Thanksgiving layer. The Bears did give us a heart attack. I mean, they trailed for almost the entire game, but they did prevail, and they won 24-20. 44 combined points. Detroit's 44, Chicago's 44. They won with 24. Lions is 24. It was on a date with 24 numerology. All of the games had a score sum on Thanksgiving that paid tribute to a city or team name. Hold on. So I think in this game, I plugged in the division and conference records. The Detroit game actually could have been misleading with the division record. It's the only one that's that way. Detroit went into this game 0-3 in the division. Looking at that, it might have been like, they could become 1-3 in Week 13. So that was the one game where the division record might have misled. I plugged this information in after, since we did Thanksgiving, just so we can look at it the way it would have been before the game. But Bears, they did win. The Bills and Cowboys game, check this out. Dallas was 1-2 versus the AFC prior to the Week 13 game. So they fell to 1-3 versus the AFC, and they became 6-6. Texas also equals 66, like we talked about. The concern for the Bills in this game, the reason we didn't go full board, or at least I didn't go full board on the Bills, was just because Allen was on 13 wins, and him staying on 13 in Dallas in Week 13, it wasn't out of the question. Again, though, Dallas Cowboys is 43, the 14th prime. He did pick up his 14th win. And again, picking up the number is always a lot more consistent than staying on the number. Part of the reason Allen didn't stay on 13 in Week 13. But the Cowboys became 1-3 versus the AFC. Wish I'd caught that prior. So the Saints and Falcons game, New Orleans was 3-1 in the division prior to this game. They became 4-1, like 41 the 13th prime in Week 13. We already thought the Saints had the better riddle. Saints won this game, if I'm not mistaken, 26-18, 44 combined points. Saints equals 44. Just like in the Bills game, if I'm not mistaken, the Bills won 26-15, 41 combined points. Dallas 41 the 13th prime. So in two of these three games, the division conference record had a 13 connection. Could have been misleading in the Lions game. So we're going to look at all the division and conference records. And also, Atlanta fell to 1-3 on Thanksgiving by losing this game for another 13. That was something we caught. Atlanta falling to 1-3 on Thanksgiving. Okay, so Jets and Bengals. I might have to renege on what I said about the Bengals becoming 1-11 against New York. It's still entirely possible. It's just, I want to have a really good week, and that 111 ritual is definitely there. New York and 111 hits a lot. It's just, I think there's enough decent games this week that maybe we can forgo the Bengals and Jets game. Let's just go over it, though. I know some of you really like the Bengals to improve to 1-11 because New York's 1-11, and the Jets to fall to 4-8 because New York Jets is 48. It does have an S, though, so it's also 57. Adam Gase is 48 as well. So, I mean, it is possible. This could be Zach Taylor's first win last week, Week 12. It looked like the Steelers would beat the Bengals, but then we came across the Zachary Taylor riddle, which made things hairy. And if Zach Taylor, if that was his last game to lose before his first win, it might have everything to do with Week 12 being on Zach Taylor's birthday, the 12th president. Anyhow, what I don't like about this game is the Bengals are 6-5 versus the Jets all-time, and they could become 6-6 all-time in Week 13. 13, the sixth prime. The Bengals could also stay on 6 wins in the regular season in Week 13. And the Bengals are 9-15 versus the Jets in the regular season. We do have the 16-date numerology as well. So there's some things in their head-to-head record that is cause for concern. I see one other thing I could mention here, though, about the all-time record that would be favorable for the Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals does equal 75 in the most pure cipher, and they could improve to 7-5. Let me close this window real quick. Why is the computer so sluggish? Okay. The Jets are 1-6 in the conference right now. The Bengals are 0-7. If the Bengals did win, they'd both be 1-7 in the conference. Ohio's the 17th state. Part of the reason I liked Ohio State to beat Michigan today was today Saturday had 17-date numerology. Harbaugh got his 17th loss with Michigan, and he stayed on 47 wins. Ohio 47. Hold on, let me get the phone real quick. Caller?
Yes. Andy Dalton equals 132.
Is Dalton back in this week?
Yep, he's playing.
Oh, he is. Okay, I got to check that out. I didn't realize they put Dalton back in.
Yep.
Oh.
And 132 equals New York Jets. You know, Jets equals 27. They could get their 27th loss. Sam Arnold, you know, if you want to go the other way, Sam Arnold could stay on 13 losses. Andy Dalton could pick up his 38th his 38th home win. And the Jets will be 3-8 away. Sam Arnold will be 3-8 away.
Okay.
That's correct. And Sam Arnold equals 68, and Andy Dalton can get his 68th home win.
This is true. I think the name Darnold alone equals 68.
Yeah, Darnold equals 68, and Andy Dalton can get his 68th home win.
Okay, so he's making his return. Okay, that makes a difference.
That's all I had, though.
All right, I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
All right.
My fault. I got to fix this then. I didn't realize they plugged Dalton back in there, so let me get this correct. What I was worried about was, Actually, never mind. I wasn't worried about that. That was one of the things that looked good for the Bengals was that Finley could become 1-3 in Week 13, kind of like how Haskins became 1-2 in Week 12. Hold on. Dalton is 67, 62, and 2 all-time. And let's see. At home, he's 37, 26, and 2. 37, 26, and 2 at home. And let me see his regular season record. I know he has the same amount of wins, but he has less losses in the regular season. Dalton is 67, 58, and 2. And 37, 25, and 2 at home. Okay. So Darnold does equal 68, like how the Jets won the Super Bowl in the 68 season. And Andy Dalton birthday. Let me get this plugged in here too. Or here, I know another way to do it. Week 13. All right, so 33 days after Dalton's birthday. New York, 33. Caller?
Yeah, I think there's going to be those 6 and 6s for the NFL on Sunday is going to play hard.
Yeah.
The 6 and 6 in Week 13. I think so because a lot of these riddles are pretty tight, and that something about that 6 and 6 just really stands out. And then it already happened with the Bears and with the Bears. So
the Bears and the Cowboys both became 6 and 6. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's going to play hard. I just wanted to point that out with that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. All right, thanks, man.
All right.
All right, see you. Okay, so now I got the right information in there for Dalton. If he did beat Darnold, Darnold does equal 68 again. Get that 68th win versus Darnold. And let's see, is Sam Darnold 38? Yeah, Sam Darnold is 38. So he could also get that 38th home win. So Darnold equals 68. Sam Darnold equals 38. Dalton can pick up 68th win and 38th win at home. All right, so again, Bengals win. They are 1-11. That big New York number, New York 111. The thing that concerns me about the Bengals is they could get their 6th home loss in Week 13. 13, the 6th prime. Caller?
Oh, yeah, I made a mistake when I called it earlier. I said Andy Dalton equals 132 and Jets equals 132. I meant it's Andy Dalton's 132nd game.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, my bad.
That's all good. All right, appreciate it, man.
All right.
Okay. And... okay. It is Dalton's 132nd game. And New York Jets does equal 132. So Dalton comes back in. It is Dalton's 132nd game. New York Jets equals 132. So, yeah, this is a perfect ritual for him to come back. Defeating Darnold to pick up 68 and 38 does make a bit of sense. Getting to 1-11 versus New York makes a bit of sense. The Bengals' next home game is versus the Patriots. If they won this game, they'd be 1-5 at home. They would likely lose to the Patriots, so they would become 1-6 at home. Patriots equals 53, the 16th prime. So, looking down the road for the Bengals, that could make a bit of sense. And Darnold comes in with 13 losses. He could possibly stay on those 13 losses in Week 13. If he won, he'd be 4-7 away. If he lost, he would be 3-8. Sam Darnold's 38. And Gase, again, he's 4-7 with the Jets right now. New York Jets is 48 in the most pure cipher, but it does have an S, so it is also 57. But Adam Gase is 48, and Adam Gase does not equal 57. So it might make sense for him to fall to 4-8 with the Jets. And caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Hey, so I think the Bengals might get their first win next week at Cleveland because they're already 0-6 on the road, and Ohio is 16. And if they improve to 1-12, Zach Taylor does something to 121 English ordinals. So that's 1-12 backwards.
Sure,
so
reshuffling.
I think that might be the appropriate game for them to get the first win because even though it's a road game, it's still in Ohio. So I'm just looking at that, and Darnold can improve to 4-7 away, with Ohio being 47.
Yeah, that's the one thing that worried me about Darnold is that he could get to 4-7 away and in Ohio.
Right.
The other thing that concerns me about the Jets is if they win, they're 2-4 away, and Bengals is 24 in the most pure cipher. So,
Yeah. And since we got the 13 date in week 13, I think that 6 plays wherever it should play this week for sure.
yeah, I think it's going to play in a lot of games. That's why I was saying at the beginning, there's enough good games this week that maybe I don't want to mess with the Bengals. I won't be surprised if the Bengals win to become 1-11 against New York, but yeah, I do worry about a couple things. So
Yeah, for sure. So that's it for that.
all right, appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Okay, just on the devil's advocate side, if the Jets did lose, they would be 1-5 away. Ohio is 47, the 15th prime, just like how they come in 4-7. So you can make an argument either way. And here, I didn't write the Ohio equals 47, 15th prime. Jets could also become 1-5 away. And something else I noticed about the Jets that kind of gave me cold feet too is their next game is at the Ravens. I mean, that would be the upset of the season if the Jets beat the Ravens. So I was just imagining if the Jets won this week, they'd become 2-4 away. Bengals 24, and then Ravens is 25 in the most pure cipher. So it'd make a lot of sense if they did win this week and lost next week at the Ravens. Doesn't have to be that way, but that's just what gave me some cold feet on this. The referee, Ron Torbert, number 62, and again, Ron Torbert also equals 62. If the Bengals did win with him, they would get their 6th win with him in Week 13, and they would become 6-2 with him, and that 62 does show up a lot with Ron Torbert. So if you want to play the Bengals, I mean, by all means, go for it. It's just realize there are a couple red flags there, and after we go through the rest of the games, I think you'll understand why I don't think we need to use that game this week to have a good week. Okay, so the Titans and Colts. Titans are 15-34 versus the Colts. It is 16-date numerology. It's possible they could get that 16th win. Things like that are hit and miss. They could stay on 15 because Colts is 15. And what really jumps out about this game is the Colts are 3-1 in the division, and the Titans are 1-2 in the division. So if the Titans lose, they're 1-3, and if the Colts win, they're 4-1. 41's the 13th prime. Week 13. So that looks too good right there. And there is just something about 13 in the Colts. You know, the horseshoe is a symbol of luck. In some cultures, 13 is considered luck. In some, it's considered unlucky, but either way, it has to do with luck. And the name Luck, Andrew Luck, the former quarterback, his name in Jewish Gematria is 233, the 13th Fibonacci number. It seems like 13 shows up a lot with the Colts. So Colts getting to 4-1 in the division and Titans falling to 1-3, I think that is the best riddle on the board in light of it being Week 13. Colts right now are 5-5 in the conference, so the 6 can go either way. But just this division record right here seems to be the greatest clue. Tannehill, he is 46-47. If he did win, he would be 47-47. Tennessee's 47. If you want to add to that, I mean, I could even note up here that Indiana's 47. They don't call them the Indiana Colts, though. 47 is the 15th prime. So, in a sense, you look at Tannehill, it could make sense for him to get to 47-47. Doesn't have to be, though. If Tannehill lost, he would be 1-3 at the Colts, though. And again, that really jumps out in light of Week 13. So, the division record says Colts. Tannehill at the Colts says Colts. Vrabel can stay on 15 wins and get his 13th loss in Week 13. Colts 15. Just the one thing there, here, I'm actually going to move this to the end. The one thing that could go in Vrabel's favor is him getting the 16th win on the 16-date numerology, but I really think it's the 13s that take the cake here. Jacoby Brissett, I don't really see anything screaming out about his stats. Reich could get his 13th all-time loss, but again, the regular season, better indicator in the regular season. And there are a few other things to think about outside of the 13s. If the Colts lost, they would be 4-3 at home. Titans is 43. That number does show up a lot with the Titans. At the same time, Tennessee has the Gematria of 52, so they could become 5-2 versus Tennessee. Did I write that down? I should have wrote that down. Tennessee, Colts can improve to 5-2 at home. And there's actually something about 52-13. It's cards. You know, a card deck has 52 cards, 4 sets of 13. Caller?
Oh yeah, and the Titans have 16 wins, right?
The Titans have 16 wins versus the Colts?
They have. I'm asking you. Do they have 16, right?
Well, all time. Regular season, I believe it's 15-34.
Oh, well, all time, you know, they can stay on 16 wins.
True.
Jacoby Brissett could stay on 16 losses.
Right.
If he gets a win. And then, you know, it's Jacoby Brissett's first meeting. It's their 51st game. You know, Jacoby Brissett equals 51.
Right.
This is going to be his 28th game, and this is going to be, you know, Mike Vrabel's 28th game.
Right.
And Tannehill could get his 30th loss, and the Colts could, you know, Colts equals 30.
Oh, I overlooked that. Plus, there's 30 days left in the year. Yeah, that's a really good observation right there. You're right about that. That's a good one. So, yeah, I'm already digging the Colts because they have all the 13s on their side.
Yep, I got a good one for later on for the Sunday night game, but I'm going to wait to call in for that one.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, man. All right, thanks. Yeah, but I got to roll with the Colts here. I mean, just like almost every 13 on the board goes in their favor. And yeah, this is true that Colts equals 30, and Tannehill can get his 30th away loss, and it's the day leaving 30 days left in the year. So that's another one. So yeah, good observation. So I like the Colts here. I feel good about them. Okay, so the Eagles and Dolphins. The Eagles are a team that can improve to 6-6 in Week 13. 13, the 6th prime. Just in light of Philadelphia being named from Revelation. Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible as well. So I like that about. I like that. If the Dolphins lost, they'd be 8-7. Philadelphia Eagles equals 87 in the most pure cipher. It does have an S though, so it's also 96, but that 87 is a little more pure. Dolphins can become 8-7 versus the Eagles. The Dolphins are 5-2 versus the Eagles at home, so that's one narrative for the Dolphins. Week 13, 6th prime, they could get the 6th win at home. And the Dolphins are 0-2 versus the NFC right now. The Eagles are 2-1 versus the AFC. Eagles equals 22-31. You can make that argument either way. Actually, let me see who both these teams play next in the AFC. Hold on. Dolphins. They play the Giants next. So nothing real clear with that. And the Eagles, let's see. All right, no more games versus the AFC. They got all division games the rest of the way. Okay. So Wentz, he's 28-23. He's 10-15 away. Could get his 16th away loss on the 16-date numerology. Peterson's 34-25 in the regular season. He could stay on 25 losses on the 25-date numerology. If the Eagles won, they would be 3-3 away. Their next away game is in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C.'s 137, the 33rd prime, so they'd go in 3-3 with the win. Another way to look at it is if the Eagles lost to the Dolphins and the Redskins, which just doesn't sound right. I mean, it's possible. But if they did lose both those games, they'd go into their last away game, which is at the Giants, 2-5. Giants does have an S, so Giants is 25-34. So yeah, it is possible they go into that last away game 2-5 or 3-4. Okay, so on the Dolphins side, Fitzpatrick, he's 52, 81, and 1. He's 30, 36, and 1 at home. I suppose he could pick up his 31st win. Eagles does have the 31 connection. If he won, he'd get his 53rd overall win. 53 is the 16th prime. Fitzpatrick is 2, 3, and 1 versus the Eagles. He's played all of his games against the Eagles at home. If he lost, he'd be 2, 4, and 1. 241 is the 53rd prime. Pennsylvania's 53. If he won, he'd be 3, 3, and 1. 331 is the 67th prime. 67 is the 19th prime. Is 2019. Even though there's a lot there that could go against the Eagles, I'm still thinking that 6 and 6 is what takes the cake. Just right on the surface. Just getting to 6 and 6. Week 13, the 6th prime. 3 and 3 away because they play at DC next, which has the 33 connection. If Dolphins do lose, they're 1 and 6 at home on the 16-date numerology. So I wouldn't call this the safest pick of the week, but I'm just thinking that the 6 and 6 records where they are, the majority of them are going to come through. So let me double check who the Dolphins play again next week real quick. Eagles got the Giants next week. Okay. Dolphins play the Jets next week. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next game. Packers and Giants. This one's a little bit of a head scratcher. If the Packers lost, they would be 3 and 3 away. New York's 33. If they won, they'd be 9 and 3. New York, NY's 93. The reflection of 39, the big New York number. But notice the Giants can also become 3 and 9 by upsetting the Packers. If the Packers did win this game, they would be 16, 16, and 2 at the Giants in the regular season on the 16-date numerology. So good day to even it up at 16. The Giants are 2 and 6 in the conference. They could stay on those 6 conference losses in week 13, but again, staying on numbers, not nearly as consistent as picking them up. The Packers are 5 and 2 in the conference. So speaking of picking it up, the Packers could get their 6th win in the conference in week 13. 13, the 6th prime. If they did lose, they'd be 5 and 3 in the conference. 53, the 16th prime. Let's see. I didn't think about this before. New York, when you use the rule with K has that master numerology of 11. New York is 48. If Rodgers won, he would be 48 and 48 away. And Rodgers, I think they're supposed to say 3 and 1 versus Giants. Hold on, let me make sure I got that right. I'm sure that's supposed to say Giants, but let me just double check it. So, hold on. By the way, all week on Pro Football Reference, the splits have been down, so we haven't been able to get the day of the week records. I don't know what's up with that, but the game log is still working. So the easiest way to do it is go to game log and then sort by opponent and then scroll down to the team you're looking for. And so we're looking for NYG. So Rodgers is 1, 2, 3. Wait, hold up. Did I screw up? No, I didn't. Yeah, 4 games. So 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1. So he's 3-1 versus the Giants. Can improve to 4-1. 41 the 13th prime. He's 1-1 at New York. Two of those games have been at New York. So I do like that he can improve to 4-1. Green Bay's 41. 41's the 13th prime. I'm really looking for the 13s this week. And one concern with there's more than one concern. Another concern with the Packers is that they could fall to 8 and 4 for the season. Green Bay Packers is 84. So that's one thing that could go against them as well. Looking ahead at who the Packers play, if the Packers win this week, they play at Minnesota for their next away game. And notice if they win this week, they'd be 4-2. NYC's 42. The Giants won Super Bowl 42 over the Patriots. But if the Packers won this week, they'd become 4-2, and that would give them a chance to become 5-2 at Minnesota, where 52 hits so much. Today, the Wisconsin football coach got his 52nd win by beating Minnesota, and the Minnesota coach stayed on 52 wins to conclude the regular season for, well, college football. So 52 in Minnesota, I mean, we know how good it is, especially people who've been around here. 52, it just comes up again and again and again in all the world of sports. So Packers win this week. It does set them up to get to 5-2 against Minnesota in their next away game. And then their last away game is at Detroit, and it's looking like Detroit might crumble away the rest of the season. Detroit equals 44 as we're used to, but if you use that rule with E, that's plus 18 more. So Detroit is also 62. So if the Packers win their remaining away games, they will finish the season 6-2 away in Detroit. And I think the Packers are going to finish the season pretty strong. So losing at the Giants, I mean, there are some numbers there that are considering. New York in 39 hits a lot. Green Bay Packers 84, it's there. New York in 33 hits a bunch too. Packers could become 3-3 away. So I wouldn't call this the safest pick of the game. But I do like that Rodgers can become 4-1 versus the Giants in Week 13. And just looking down the stretch, I think it sets up a better narrative for where things are going for the Packers. Minnesota in 52 just comes together so much. Magnetic. Daniel Jones, he's 2-7 right now. If he lost, he'd be 2-8. Packers is 28 in the most pure cipher. It does have an S, so it is also 37. But that 28... more consistent, and let's see, what else is there? Again, New York Giants can get to 3-9. New York's 39. G-Men's 39. Let's see. The Giants' remaining home games are the Packers, Dolphins, and Eagles. If they lost 2 of the 3, they would finish 2-6 at home. Their last game's against Philadelphia. Philadelphia 101, the 26th prime. So I think that's also very possible. And realize if they lose this week, they'd be 1-5, right? And then they play the Dolphins at home. That's the most winnable game. They'd become 2-5 by beating the Dolphins. Giants is 25 in the most pure cipher. So New York in 39 does miss sometimes. That's the one thing you got to bank on here. I hate to go against a New York 39 riddle, but the 13 is with Rodgers. Couple other things that are interesting. The Giants are 38, 41-0 in the regular season at their stadium. If they did not lose, they would stay on 41 losses. And Green Bay's 41. 41's the 13th prime. It's week 13. They'd become 39-41. They'd get the New York number and stay on 41 losses. All time, they're 39-41 there. If they won, they'd be 40-41. Green Bay is 40-41. The stadium thing, it was really good the first week we looked at it. I don't know if it was beginner's luck that week, but since then, the riddles haven't been quite so great. The Packers are 3-2 at the stadium. If they lost, they would be 3-3, that New York number. If they won, they'd be 4-2, and NYC is 42. So, a little bit dangerous game, but ultimately, I really am looking for the 13s, and the 13 is with Rodgers, as long as he wins. Okay, the Browns and Steelers. Notice both teams will be 6-6 with a Browns win. Again, week 13, the 6th prime. The Browns have a lot of 13 connections as well. Cleveland Browns is 169, square root of 13. Browns is 91, the 13th triangular number. They're not in their stadium, but their stadium has that 13 connection as well. Caller? Hello? Okay. They hung up. Okay, so if Cleveland wins, they're 3-3 away. Cleveland's 33. They got to 3-3 at home last week. Now they can become 3-3 away. Another thing that could be related. Earlier this year, we really liked the Browns to beat the Ravens in their building. They had a great riddle, and they did do that. Again, there's this relationship with the Browns and the Ravens. Baltimore Ravens is 66, division opponent for both teams. So if the Browns win, both teams are 6-6. Could even be a tribute to the Ravens there. And don't forget, Baltimore's 41 the 13th prime. So anyhow, Browns can get to 3-3 away. Both teams can hit 6-6. And by the way, the Browns play Cincinnati next week. Cincinnati's 66, so it would make sense to face Cincinnati with a 6-6 record. That was a good number for us with the Cincinnati Reds this year in baseball. And let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Caller?
Hey, what up, Zach?
What's up, Izzy?
Hey, so, my beloved Giants, a team I grew up watching since I was a kid. So, yeah, it's hard to realize when things are not like they're supposed to be. But, that being said, the Giants, remember we talking about the streaks of 8? Giants on the 7-game losing streak.
Oh, Giants could lose their 8th straight. That's a really good observation. Okay.
All right. Yeah,
all right.
That's all I got for now.
All right, appreciate that. Thanks, Izzy.
All right, bye.
All right, the streaks of 8 were perfect until Week 9 this year. Week 9, and then since then we've seen some streaks of 8 fail. Okay, let's see. If Mayfield wins this game, he will be 5-8 away. Pittsburgh's 58. He could stay on 13 losses as well, so I like that for Mayfield. With regards to the 33 thing, the Steelers, you'll see Mike Tomlin on the sideline wearing that black hat that says 1933. The Steelers and Eagles were both established in 33. So Cleveland could get to 3-3 away. And Devlin Hodges is making his first start at home in this game. What else was there? One of the only things I see that's favorable for the Steelers is Tomlin staying on 71 losses. Browns is 71. So he doesn't have to stay on it though. Remember, he picked up his 71st loss and his 78th all-time loss in the game in Cleveland Thursday Night Football a couple weeks back. So he's on the 71 and 78 right now, but he could pick it up again. It could be his next loss. So this is the best thing going for the Steelers. Tomlin staying on the 71 and 78. The Browns are 2-0 with this ref. It'll be the Steelers' first game with them. If the Browns win, they're 3-0. The game's played on the day leaving 30 days left in the year. Steelers equals 113 the 30th prime. The Steelers in their stadium are 108, 41-1. So that's another thing that could actually go for the Steelers. 41, 13th prime, week 13, staying on the 41 losses. They could also get that 47th loss all time in the stadium. And Ohio is 47. And I guess they could get the 117th win all time. If you write out 13, it's 117. The Browns, they've really struggled at Heinz Field. They are 1-18 there all time. If they lost, they'd be 1-19. It is 2019. If they won, though, they'd be 2-18. And when you write out 2 as a word, it does equal 13. So they can get their second win in week 13. So Tomlin staying on the loss, and the stadium stats where the stadiums haven't been terribly consistent. We've only been watching it for a few weeks. Ultimately, I do think the best riddles here are with the Browns. Both teams becoming 6-6. Mayfield becoming 5-8 away in Pittsburgh. I think those are the better riddles. So let's see. Also, if Mayfield does win this week and next week, he would become 13-13. And again, the Browns have a lot of 13 connections, so that could make sense as well. Okay, the Redskins and Panthers game. Hold on. Did I skip? Was there something in the division record for this game? Oh, the division record. The Steelers are 2-2 in the division. If they lost, they would be 2-3. Cleveland Browns is 83, the 23rd prime. And if the Browns won, they'd be 3-0 in the division against Steelers 1-3, the 30th prime, 30 days left in the year. So the division records would make a little bit more sense with the Browns win as well. Okay, the Redskins and Panthers. So Panthers can get to 6-6. Again, I really like the 6-6 riddles. They can improve to 3-3 at home. Again, Washington, D.C., 137, the 33rd prime. Caller?
Oh, yeah. Hodges also equals 58.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good catch. Okay. Appreciate that. Thanks, man. Makes sense that he's the quarterback for Pittsburgh then. Okay. So Panthers are another team that can get to 6-6. I think we're going to have a high success rate with the 6-6 teams. If the Panthers win, okay, the Panthers are 6-8 versus the Redskins in the regular season. They could stay on the 6 in Week 13. I'll jot it down. But again, staying on the number, not nearly as good as picking it up. The Panthers are 4-2 versus the Redskins at home. Panthers equals 43 and 52, so you can make an argument either way. 52 is divisible by 13. The Redskins are 1-6 in the conference. The Panthers are 2-6 in the conference. So with a Panthers win, they are 3-6. Redskins equals 36. Perfect team to become 3-6 in the conference against. Allen is 6-4, but again, staying on numbers, not that big a deal. Rivera can get his 77th win. DC, the 77 city. And let's see. Haskins, he became 1-2 in Week 12. He can become 1-3 in Week 13. And, yeah, so those are the main things there. Panthers becoming 6-6, getting to 3-3 at home. The conference record makes a lot of sense with a win. And making Haskins 1-3 in Week 13. So I like the Panthers here. The 13s are with them. Caller?
Hey, good afternoon, Zach.
Hey, what's up, Victor?
Nothing. Just wanted to let you know tomorrow Deshaun Jackson's birthday. He turns 33.
Is he remind me, is he on the Eagles now?
I think he plays for the Redskins, if I'm not mistaken.
I know he's moved all over the place. Okay, I thought he went back to the Eagles.
No, you might be right. You might be right.
Isn't he injured though?
I know he was injured, but I'm not sure. He might come back he might come back this week. I don't think they've ruled him out yet for the week. But I just wanted to let you know that I was kind of confused what team he was on as well.
The report yesterday says it's unlikely Deshaun Jackson or Jeffrey will come back this season for the Eagles.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't see that one. Also, one other thing. Tomorrow is World AIDS Day. I don't know if the NFL really plays into that, but I know they do the whole cancer awareness and everything like that. So I don't know if that's going to play into any of the outcomes tomorrow, but just wanted to let you know.
Okay, World AIDS Day. All right. Interesting. All right, appreciate it, Victor.
All
right, thanks, man.
Take care.
All right, see you. Okay, so the Jaguars and Bucks game. This one's a little bit dicey. If the Bucks win, they're 4-3 away. Jacksonville's 43. If the Jaguars win, they're 3-3 at home. Tampa Bay's 137, the 33rd prime, so you can make sense of either team's home and away record. The Bucks are 2-4 versus the Jaguars. If they lost, they would be 2-5. Tampa Bay's 25. The game's on a 25-date numerology. Jacksonville equals 43 and 52, so you can make sense of the record either way there, but because Tampa Bay has the 25 connection and Jacksonville has the 52 connection, I'm thinking that 2-5-5-2 is probably more where it's at. However, if the Bucks won, they would be 1-3 at the Jaguars in Week 13. So that's the yay part. Jameis Winston, he's 25-40. Beat the Falcons last week. Falcons 25, Atlanta Falcons 40. That was my one fear of that game, and my fear came true. I should have thought more about how if he stayed on that 40, he could pick up his 41st loss in Week 13. 41 the 13th prime. So there's the 13 that can play against Winston. Staying on 25 wins on the 25 date numerology. And the Bucks, they play at Detroit next week. And we already talked about why we thought Detroit would lose and then lose to the Bears and then lose to the Bucks to become 2-5 at home. Here, let me just pull up the NFL standings real quick. Let's see. The Lions right now at home are 2-4. So they lose next week, or they lose their next home game to Tampa Bay. They're 2-5. And it looks like that's where things are going for the Lions. So if the Bucks lose this week, they're 3-4 away, and then they beat Detroit to become 4-4 away, where Detroit and 44, pretty consistent pattern. So that might be the biggest clue in this game, since things are kind of back and forth. Nick Foles, he is 2-1 versus Tampa Bay. If he beat them, he would be 3-1, meaning Tampa Bay would be 1-3 against him. And Foles could get his I was actually sleeping on this. 16 date numerology, and can't type. 16 date numerology, 169 square root 13. So if Foles wins, he would be 16-9 at home, like 169, which does have a square root of 13 in week 13. Caller?
Hey, Zach, just to throw some juice on that Bucks game, this is the Jaguars' 25th season.
For another 25 to play.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I appreciate that.
No problem.
All right, thanks, man. Okay, so yeah, just looking at the progression, I mean, it would make a lot of sense if the Bucks lost this week and then won in Detroit to get to 4-4. And then, yeah, Foles being 16-9 in week 13 at home also makes sense. He was the man in the Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl that was all about the flag and the 13 stripes and the rematch of the Super Bowl from 13 years earlier, and he won it with 41 points, the 13th prime. So let me just put one more devil's advocate thing up here that I see. Tampa Bay equals 79, the 22nd prime. Could get his could pick up 22nd loss. Okay, and then Doug Marrone, if he won, he would stay on 25 losses with Jacksonville. And let me just type in Jaguars up here. We can verify what the caller just said. It is the Jaguars' 25th season. So that's a good observation. Okay. If the Jaguars did win, again, they would be 3-3 at home. Tampa Bay's 137, the 33rd prime. And the Jaguars play the Chargers next. Chargers equals 137, the 33rd prime. Hold on. I meant to write that they host them next. Let me just verify that I did that right. Yeah, they host the Chargers next, so let me write that. Jags host Chargers next. So it would make sense to be 3-3 hosting the Chargers. And then if they beat the Chargers, you have an overlap with Chargers equals 43, Jacksonville equals 43. Maybe the Jaguars finish the season strong. I mean, seems like they should be better than they are. So they could get to 4-3 at home by winning their next two games. Let's see. Is there anything else? Tampa is 0-3 at this stadium. If they won, they would be 1-3 in week 13. So sometimes I wish I'd never started looking at the stadium, but Yeah, it's a little bit dicey. I think Winston, though, getting that 41st loss in Week 13, because normally push comes to shove, the riddles with the quarterbacks are where it's at. So he could get a 13 tribute with the 41 loss. And Foles can also get the 13 tribute by becoming 16-9 at home. All right, 49ers and Ravens. What really jumps out here to me is both teams' home and away records. The 49ers were 5-0 in Super Bowls before the Harbaugh Bowl between John and Jim in Super Bowl 47. And the Ravens won that, making the 49ers 5-1 in Super Bowls. So if Ravens win, they are 5-1 at home. 49ers lose, they're 5-1 away. What could go against the Ravens is falling to 4-2 at home. 49ers does have the 42 connection. The 49ers are 2-3 versus the Ravens. If the Ravens won, they would be 4-2 versus the 49ers. 49ers is 42. And if you count the Super Bowl, the all-time record, if the 49ers lose, they're 2-4. Excuse me, if the 49ers lose, they'd be 2-5 all-time versus the Ravens. Ravens is 25. You have the 25 date numerology. Ravens does have an S, so it is also 34. But again, to me, just the 51 is really standing out because it reminds me of the Super Bowl. And right now, the 49ers are 3-0 versus the AFC. The Ravens are 3-0 versus the NFC. So nothing clear with that. Garoppolo, he is 18-3 right now and 9-2 away. The Raven equals 93. Again, the Ravens are named after the Raven, the poem. Jimmy Garoppolo does equal 193. If he won, he would be 19-3. His first game versus Baltimore. If the 49ers did win, they would pick up their 6th away win in Week 13. 13, the 6th prime. Baltimore, 41, the 13th prime. So that would be the 49ers counter-narrative to the 5-1 thing, picking up the 6th away win in Week 13. And if the 49ers go into Baltimore and win, that would be very interesting. Because Lamar Jackson's looked unstoppable. They'd have to have the master plan. Also, the 49ers, on the flip side, could get their 2nd loss of the season. When you write out 2, it equals 13. Lamar Jackson is 15-3 in the regular season. If he wins, he would be 16-3. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo fall to 16-3 earlier this year on Veterans Day. James Garoppolo equals 163. Veterans Day equals 163. That was the Seahawks game. If Jackson did win, he would be 9-1 at home. 91 is the 13th triangular number, Week 13. If Garoppolo did fall to 16-3, 163 is the 38th prime. Ravens equals 38. So, good. Or, hold on. I misspoke. If Jackson improves to 16-3 against James Garoppolo, 163, again, 163 is the 38th prime. Ravens 38. And I don't see anything that really stands out with Harbaugh's record this week. I looked down the stretch for these teams' upcoming home and away games, and I didn't really see how it's synced up with the next opponent. So, the way the Ravens are playing, I mean, it is really hard to go against this team. And something to think about, if the Ravens win, is that NFC West teams, 49ers and Seahawks, they will have both lost to the Ravens. And again, there's that historical narrative. The Miami Seahawks folded after one season and became the Baltimore Colts eventually. And now you got the Baltimore Ravens. Caller?
And last point for the night, Zach. The Ravens going for their 8th straight win. Jackson sums to 19 for reduction, and he wears the number 8 on top of that.
The Ravens are going for their 8th straight win this season?
Yep.
I did not realize that.
Yep.
They were 1-2?
Yeah.
They were 1-2?
Yep. They lost to Cleveland.
Oh, they must have been 2-2 actually. Okay, and then they've won 7 straight to become. Okay, so they can pick up that 8th straight win. Okay, so we got 2 teams with streaks of 8 this week. Yeah, good catch.
Just a kicker. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like that. Appreciate that.
Sir. No problem.
All right, thanks, man. Okay, so we have another potential streak at 8 there, too. There's sort of a relationship with 8 and 13 if you count the Fibonacci numbers. The Fibonacci sequence goes 8, 13, 21, 34, so 8 and 13 are next to each other. The Rams and Cardinals game. This one could, it seems like the Rams should be more than a 3-point favorite. Not that they're having the greatest season, but the Rams are another team that could fall to 6-6 in Week 13. And with the division records, the Cardinals are 0-3 in the division. If they won, they'd be 1-3. Week 13, LA 13 in LA hits a lot. The Rams' narrative to win with their division record is to become 1-2 because Los Angeles is 37, the 12th prime. Caller?
Hey, Shaq. If the Ravens win, they'll have identical records with 49ers, 10-2.
This is true. Yep, this is true.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right, thanks, man. Okay, so the division record here gives the Cardinals a chance to upset the Rams. The Rams did waste the Cardinals 34-0 in Week 2. That game was in Los Angeles. So that's part of the reason it's interesting that they're just a 3-point favorite. The flip side is looking at the conference record. If the Rams did win this game, they would be 5-3 in the conference. Los Angeles is 53. 53 is the 16th prime. You got the 16 date numerology. The Cardinals right now are 2-6-1 in the conference. If they lost, they'd be 2-7-1. Kind of like 271, the 58th prime. If you write out 2, it does equal 58. They'd stay on 2 wins, but if they won, they'd be 3-6-1 in the conference. Cardinals is 36. And Goff, I actually see something that I didn't catch before. 179, 41st prime. 41, 13th prime, week 13. If Goff lost, he would be 17-9 all time. He's 16-8 away. So in the regular season, he could be 116-9, 169 square root 13, week 13, LA 13. Let's see, 30 days left in the year. Could stay on 30 wins. Goff's 30-19, so he could stay on those 30 wins in the regular season. Goff's 4-1 versus the Cardinals. If he lost, he'd be 4-2. Arizona's 42. If he won, he'd be 5-1. Rams is 51. But it is about his record with the Arizona team. So being 4-2 against Arizona could make some sense. Los Angeles Rams has the 52 connection, so very possible he does split the next 2. Goff's 2-0 at Arizona. If he did win, he'd be 3-0 on the day, leaving 30 days left in the year. McVay comes into the game 30-13. Could stay on those 13 losses in the regular season. Could also pick up his 16th loss all-time on the 16 date numerology. The Rams, their next away opponent is the Cowboys. Cowboys 33, and notice if the Rams lost, they would be 3-3 away going into that Cowboys game, and they would also become 6-6. Again, number that could play heavy this week. It's 2 for 2 in the 2 games that it could happen. Just the one extra detail about the teams that became 6-6 to start Week 13 is they did it on Thanksgiving, which equals 66. One team did it against the Lions, which equals 66. The other did it in the state, Texas, that equals 66. The narrative for the Cardinals to win with their overall record is to improve to 7-5 because Arizona Cardinals is 75. The Cardinals play in University of Phoenix Stadium, which equals 341. If they win 2 of their remaining 3 home games, they would finish 3-4-1 at home. They got to win 2 out of 3 to do it. And let me see. Pretty sure I wrote down the remaining home games. They have the Rams, the Steelers, and the Browns. And none of those teams are particularly great right now. So Steelers are on their third stringer. Remains to be seen how the Browns finish the season. Another scenario to think about is if the Cardinals drop their next two games, they'd be 1-5-1 at home, like 151 the 36th prime, and Cardinals is 36. So ultimately, I think this game is pretty dangerous right here. I think this game's pretty dangerous. I'm not sure what the payout is for the Cardinals. If the value's there, you might want to think about it, because what really does jump out is that division record. If the Cardinals win, they are 1-3 in the division in Week 13 against LA. And as much as LA in 13 plays, definitely not out of the question. And again, the Rams, if they do lose, they would go into that Cowboys game 3-3, and they would be 6-6 in Week 13. So there's plenty there to believe in the Cardinals. It's just there's a couple riddles for the Rams too. Okay, the Chargers and Broncos. Remember earlier this year it was all synced up with Elway? Maybe in light of that I should do it one more time. It was 100 days after John Elway's birthday when the Broncos beat the Chargers in LA in the 100th NFL season. Let's just see how it lines up with his birthday this time around. But the division record makes this one look good for the Chargers to get revenge. Let's see here. It's 155 days after Elway's birthday this time, or his 156th day of his age, so not quite as interesting. Okay. If the Chargers, well, it could happen for either team. Chargers is 137, the 33rd prime. Whoever wins will either become 3-3 away or 3-3 at home. The Chargers are 0-3 in the division right now, so they can improve to 1-3. Week 13, LA 13. The Broncos are 1-2 in the division, so with a loss, they are also 1-3. And just to throw up a devil's advocate narrative, which I would not take over the 13s, Chargers does equal 79, the 22nd prime, so if the Broncos got to 2-2, it is there. But I like that both teams can hit the 13 with a Chargers win. Let's see. The Broncos are also 3-5 in the conference, so with a loss, they could pick up that 6th loss in the conference in Week 13, the 6th prime. And the Chargers play at Jacksonville next. If they did win, they'd also have a chance to become 4-3 next week. Jacksonville and Chargers are both 43. That could be tough if Jacksonville wins and the Chargers win, because they'll both have the exact same thing, the chance to become 4-3 away and home. The Broncos quarterback, Allen, with a loss, he would be 1-3 in Week 13. And also, the Broncos, their next home game is against the Lions. Lions equals 24 in the most pure cipher. It does have an S, so it is also 33, but if they lose this week, they're 2-4 at home to host the Lions. That 24 plays more with the Lions than the 33 does, just like how the Bears beat the Lions with 24 points this past Thanksgiving. One thing that could go against the Chargers is picking up their 13th loss at the stadium in Week 13. But again, I'm going to fade the stadium for now. The primary stats, the 13s, all look good for the Chargers. So I'm favoring the Chargers in this one. I like the way the 13s line up. Both division records hit the 13 with a Chargers win. And the conference record also goes against the Broncos as well. And you could say it goes in favor of the Chargers because they could stay on 6 conference losses in Week 13. Okay, Raiders and Chiefs. Raiders are another team that can become 6-6. Week 13, the 6th prime. Chiefs are 3-0 in the division. Chiefs equals 31-40. Raiders are 2-1 in the division. Very possible that they fall to 2-2. Oakland's 22. Most pure cipher. The Raiders are 4-3 in the conference. If they did win, they'd be 5-3, like 53 the 16th prime on the 16-date numerology. The Chiefs, however, are 5-3 in the conference. They can get that 6th win in Week 13. So I'm favoring that. I'm looking for, again, all the numbers connected to 13. Oh, I see something else that I was overlooking before. Oakland Raiders equals 93. So does Gruden. They're both 93. If Mahomes wins, he would be 9-3 at home versus the Oakland Raiders. So that makes some sense. And also, if the Chiefs win their last 3 games at home, they will finish the year 5-3 at home in their last games against Los Angeles, 53. Caller?
Yeah. For the Chargers Broncos game, another game. If the Broncos win, they'll be both teams will be 4-8, identical mirror. So 2 teams can 2 games where both teams can have identical records.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take the 13s all day over that, but appreciate it.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you, man. Okay. Okay, so anyway, the Chiefs win their last 3 home games. They will finish 5-3 at home. They actually have a losing record at home right now. So I am thinking they finish 5-3 at home by defeating Los Angeles. Let's see. Carr could get his 6th loss at Kansas City in Week 13, the 6th prime. He'd get his 31st away loss, Chiefs 31. Gruden can get his 99th regular season loss. Arrowhead Stadium's 99. When you write out 13, it's 99. And the best thing going for the Raiders is the ref. If they won with him, they'd be 1-3. They could be 1-3 with John Hussey. Chiefs can also get to 3-2 with the ref. Kansas City's 32. Chiefs is 32. So, anyhow, things look better here for me to the Chiefs. The 13 relationships are with them, 9-3 at home. I think the Chiefs winning out at home for the rest of the year is where it's at, finishing 5-3 at home by defeating the Chargers to conclude the year. Patriots and Texans, this is an interesting one. Houston Texans is 51. The Patriots come in 5-1. Caller? Hello? Caller, can you hear me? No, they hung up. Okay, so the Patriots, they played in Super Bowl 51, hosted by the Houston Texans. That's where they beat the Falcons. They come in 5-1 away. The Texans have a chance to become 5-1 at home. Of course, the Patriots do have a chance at that 6th away win in Week 13. Caller?
Hi, Zach.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I believe John Gruden can get his 99th all-time loss.
Yes, he can.
Okay. That's what I had.
Well, it's not exactly all-time, but 99th loss in the regular season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, let's see what else. 106, do you have anything with that? That's 106 date from Gruden's birthday? Is that tied to anything? I had it highlighted.
Hold on. You're right, it is 106 days after his birthday. If Gruden won, he would get his 106th win in the regular season 106 days after his birthday. That is interesting.
Okay. And 15 wins for the Derek Carr. 15th win for Derek Carr or Mahomes is 15.
Let's see. Derek Carr. You're saying he could get his 15th away win? I like him getting that 31st away loss more just because Chiefs equals 31.
Okay.
KC also equals 14, so he could be 14-31. KC Chiefs 14-31.
Okay. All right. And also I have Raiders is 115. Does that tie to anything?
Raiders 115. Well, that number does play with them, but I didn't see any 115s on the board this week.
Okay, and because the Cardinals were 115, that hasn't changed.
Yeah. So, yeah, you do have a great observation there with the 106 days after Gruden's birthday. I'd say that's the one riddle on the board for a Raiders upset, but I really am thinking the Chiefs are going to win out here and win the rest of their home games. Are you still there, caller?
Yes.
Oh, your signal faded way out. I can barely hear you.
Okay. Okay, I have Gruden 33.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
I have Chiefs also.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs. The one prayer is Gruden getting that 106th win 106 days after his birthday, but I'm going to take the other stuff over that.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
All right, will do. Thanks for the call.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye. Yeah, those birthday alignments, that's kind of like the information's there, but I'm just like glossing over and not even putting much weight on it because, I mean, it just seems like it's just like at the beginning of the year. I still remember week 1, I came out, I loved the Cowboys to win, to beat the Giants. It looked like a no-brainer, and they wasted the Giants. But somebody called in, they're like, did you notice that it's 117 days from Manning's birthday and he can get his 117th win? I was like, and then I wish that phone call was never made. Anyway, because I was just like, okay, fine, I'm neutral on the game. Again, if you go back to week 1, what I posted Friday night, I had 11 right and 3 wrong for the week. And then after our call-in with all this information and call-in, I forget how we finished that week, like 6 and 3. Huge discrepancy from what I had when I posted Friday night. Friday night, you were golden. After the Saturday call-in show, not nearly as impressive. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, that is the prayer, but I really like Chiefs to win out the rest of the season. Okay, so Patriots and Texans, again, that Houston Texans 51 numbers right there. So, the Texans have really struggled against the Patriots. They're 1-8 versus the Patriots. New England Patriots does equal 82 like Vesica Pisces. If the Patriots lost, they'd be 8-2. It does have an S, so it is also 91. And now that I say that, 91 does have the relationship with 13. 91, 13th triangular number, week 13. Okay. The Texans are 1-3 versus the Patriots at home. Texans equals 83, the 23rd prime. Patriots, though, could become 4-1, 41, 13th prime. Houston does equal 32 and 41. It's got an H. So, Patriots could fall to 3-2 or become 4-1. That 91 and 41, though, does go with the Week 13 theme. Texans are 1-10 versus the Patriots all time. The Patriots right now are 6-1 in the conference. Houston, Texas equals 62 and 71. The 62 seems to show up a whole lot more, though. Think about the World Series that ended in Houston on the day leaving, 62 days left in the year. Final score, 6-2. You had the death of that umpire to start the World Series, whose name equaled 62, Eric Cooper. Caller?
Yeah, and you got Tom Brady is 7-1 against Houston, right?
Let me see. I haven't gotten down to it. Yeah, he is 7-1 versus Texans. Yeah.
Deshaun equals 72.
Okay.
And, you know, the 32-day, Houston is 32. Bill O'Brien could get his 51st win. Houston 51.
Houston equals 51?
Yes.
Hold on. What cipher is that in?
Does it equal 51?
I think it equals 41. I know it equals 41. I'm not sure about 51. Nah, I don't think it equals 51.
Oh, I must have had that mistaken then.
Houston Texans equals 51, though. That's what equals 51. Houston Texans.
Yeah, Houston Texans then.
Yeah, that's 51.
And Deshaun could pick up his 13th home win. New England Patriots equals 217. Brady could stay on 217 wins. Belichick equals 44. Brady could get his 44 away loss.
The Watson 13 can go either way because he can also get his get his 13th loss. What did you just say about 217?
New England Patriots.
Yeah, you're right. That does equal 217.
On 217 wins right now.
But I mean, eventually he's going to get off that, right? He's not going to stay on that forever.
Yeah. And then it's going to be Bill O'Brien's 92nd game, and Brady could fall to 9-2 all time with the loss.
Say that one again?
I said it's going to be Bill O'Brien's 92nd regular season game.
Okay.
Brady could fall to 9-2 all time versus Houston.
Is that right? He's 9-2 all time? I got him as
No, he right now he's 9-1 all time. With the loss, he'll be 9-2 all time.
Oh, I skipped his post. I see. I skipped his postseason stats. Okay. Yeah, I can't open up that split. Okay, so all right, yeah, that's an interesting point. Appreciate that.
And one more, Belichick equals 44, and Brady could pick up his 44th away loss.
Do you know if Brady's 2 postseason games versus the Texans were both in New England?
They were both in New England.
Okay, so he's 9-1 versus the Texans all time, but he's 3-1 at Houston all time. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate that, man.
All right.
All right, thanks. All right. Okay. So again, though, the way the 13s play, so Watson, he's tricky because he could get his 13th regular season loss or his 13th home win. And for all-time, though, when you look at the all-time, it could work out for Watson because he could stay on 13 all-time losses and get his 13th home win. But again, it's usually more about the regular season numbers. Oops, got a typo there. So this will be Watson's first game versus the Patriots at home. He's 0-2 versus them. If he did win, he'd be 1-2. Patriots is 37, the 12th prime. Caller?
Hi, Zachary. It's me again.
Hello.
It was on the news the other day that 9 players in New England have the flu.
9 players had the flu.
I believe they said flu. Yeah, it was on the news like a couple days ago. It was this week.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I hate New England. I hope they lose.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that one. All right.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Yeah, this is what I hate, though. I hate the gimmicks they do with New England. It's just like last week. I wrote in the notes that it screamed out that Dak would pick up that 12th loss in Week 12 against the Patriots, 37, the 12th prime, and that's exactly what happened. And I did. I bought into the narrative a little bit that there was something wrong with Tom Brady's elbow, which was obviously some BS. It was like, oh, are they trying to set this up for a Dallas win? And it's just like this flu thing. I mean, do any of them really even have the flu? I mean, it's entirely possible, but it's also possible that they're just putting that out there to make people think, uh-oh, they're all sick, they're going to lose. Meanwhile, they're all perfectly fine. But yeah, the thing that still really jumps out for the Texans is just getting to 5-1 at home. There's a lot of symbolism there. Houston Texans 51 again, the Patriots in that Super Bowl 51 hosted by them. So again, just to revisit, if Brady won, he would be 4-1 at Houston, like 41 the 13th prime in Week 13. Houston equals 32 and 41, so that can go either way. If he did win, wait, there was one other thing about the 91. Where was that? Though 13 can go either way for Watson, which is tough. That's what it is. If the Patriots win, they'd be 9-1 versus the Texans, like 91 the 13th triangular number. So that's tricky too. So, I mean, the 13s actually look a little bit better for the Patriots in this game. I honestly don't like this game, though. I'm not a big fan of this one. Tony Corrente, number 99 on the field. New England's 99. Again, when you write out 13, it's 99. The Patriots are 17-5 with this ref. The Texans are 6-15. Caller?
So now it seems like the latest report is it jumped to 16. An illness bug made its way to the Patriots locker room this week to accompany several injuries. As a result, 16 players are listed as questionable, and 2, Ryan Izzo and Jason McCourty, have already been ruled out ahead of Sunday's matchup against the Houston Texans. So it's the games they play. So I don't know.
You said it's up to 18 guys have the flu?
No, they have 16 players are listed as questionable. 16.
Oh, 16. Okay, Patriots 53
So
to 16 prime.
from 9 now we got a lot of injuries and stuff. That's how they mess you up. They mess you up like that.
Yeah, they love to play so many games with the Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all healthier than ever. So.
And just to let you know, you can say the Patriots, New England Patriots, one of the most surest bets. It's like money on the bank. They're like the most team that has covered the most games. So that when they put this stuff like this, it just messes with the gamblers, with us, with everybody.
Well, that's what it's meant to do. Absolutely. So.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, appreciate it, Izzy. Thanks, man.
All right.
All right, yeah, I don't trust that report at all. It almost makes me feel like they're doing that to get more money on the Texans. Let me check one more thing real quick. NRG Stadium. Okay, so yeah, the 13s, they play a little bit more to the Patriots side, but ultimately, not a big fan of this game. I know somebody said that they were going to call in with something for Sunday Night Football. So that is one thing that I don't have in the Decode yet is the Sunday Night Football information. And here, we can do this real quick. Let me get in the Sunday Night Football information. NFL Team Game Finder. Okay. We'll do the Patriots first. Patriots. Late. Sunday. Where's Sunday? All right. Oh, there it is. Day of the week, Sunday. Caller?
Zach, I just want to add one more note about that Bengals game. So the last time they played was September 11th, 2016. That's also the day leaving 111 days left in the year. It's also the last time Cincinnati beat the Jets. But yeah, that was also on an 11 date, September 11th, and we all know what that connection is with New York as well.
Right.
So, and the score was 23-22. Cincinnati just won by 1 point.
Close game.
And that game was also 1,176 days ago, and that's the 48th triangular. And I know the Jets are connected with the 48 Adam Gases, and the Jets can beat 40 with the loss. And also that 15, the Jets are sitting on 15 wins versus the Bengals. 17 in total, but 15 in the regular season. And if the Jets lose, they'll both be 1-5 in home record and away record.
Okay, yeah, really good information. So that makes things seem a little bit more favorable for the Bengals.
Yeah, it was just something to see because I've been waiting for this W. At least one win to come because that's the most profitable game probably going to be during the season. But not even with this line. This line is shit. They haven't won a game, and the Jets are only favored by 3.
Right. It really does make sense for them to become 1-11 versus New York because 111 is the rep digit of 1 too, and it's his first win. So, that's some good stuff. But yeah, it's just I know they're not a good value either. That's the thing about that game. So
I know. So it makes it like even when something like that happens, you can't even cash in on it really.
Right. Yeah.
All right, just wanted to point that one out.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Thanks. Okay, so Patriots are 31-20 on Sunday Night Football. Let me plug this in here. And that's a little bit tricky too because Houston equals 31 and 32. So do they stay on 31? Do they pick up the 32nd win? All right, let's check it out for... Here, let's see how many of these games were against Houston. Houston, 1 game. Played that game in week 14. They won 27-6, December 13th, 2015. And that game was at Houston as well. And now let's get Houston Sunday Night Football stats. Caller?
You said 31 and 20?
Yeah,
So this will be their 52nd Sunday night game.
that's true.
Tom Brady can become 5-2 away,
Right.
and that's all I saw was the 5-2 after you said that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right, appreciate it, man. All right, Houston doesn't have the best Sunday Night Football record. They are 4-8. It's going to be their 13th game. 13th game on Sunday Night Football. 4-8. What's the spread on this game? 3 points. God. Am I missing something with 176? Hold on. Houston Texans. Yeah, I don't think that's the number. New England Patriots. Yeah, it's not the number. Okay. Okay, and you know what? It is Sunday Night Football. We might be able to get the winning clue from the day games, too. If we see something like 5 teams won in the day, and Texans have a chance at that 6th win, that could be the clue. So there's 16 games this weekend. 3 were already played Thursday, so there's 13 games left. 1 is Monday, so there'll be 12 games on Sunday. I would love to see something like that happen. Well, it could go either way. If home teams are 6-5 in the daytime, that would probably be the thorn that goes against the Texans. If home teams were 5-6, here let's go back and see what we've been thinking so far. We know home teams were 0-3. Home teams were 0-3 on Thursday. Home teams had a rough day. Home teams really struggled at the beginning of the season, but in recent weeks, home teams have been winning. So maybe this is the week where bounces back to the away advantage. All right, so let's just say that all right, Bengals have a good chance to win. This one's dicey. Bengals very well might win this game. Colts have the division record here. I'm thinking the Eagles are going to win this one to get to 6-6. This one's a little bit dicey too. Let's just say the Packers win. So right now we're 2-2 with home teams, guesstimating. I think the Browns got the advantage here, so home teams would be 2-3. I think the Panthers get it done here, 3-3. Jags Bucks is iffy. I'm gonna favor the Jags just because we talked about the Bucks lost this week and won in Detroit for their next away game. How that would make sense. So we're 4-3. Ravens probably roll here. Yeah. You got things that go the other way. All right, that'd be 5-3. Cardinals or Rams is iffy. Cardinals could win. Cardinals want to be 6-3. I think Chargers win here, 6-4. I'm suspecting the Chiefs win 7-4. Well, one of those guesstimates has got to be off. Well, not necessarily, but if it was that way and the Chiefs were the final win of the games to finish 7-4, Raiders is 74. But that would not give us the riddle we want for Sunday Night Football. I am thinking it's going to be close, and you're going to get either the 6-5 or 5-6 with the Patriots and Texans game coming into it. It would just make too much sense for home teams to be 6-6 in Week 13 on Sunday. And Houston Texans, by the way, is 66 as well. Houston Texans 66 right there. So I could definitely see that being the case. Home teams being split right down the middle coming into this game. This game being the decider. So yeah, I'd wait for that final clue on Sunday Night Football. And then Vikings and Seahawks. Seahawks' first season was 1976. The Vikings are 2-7 at the Seahawks. If they did lose, they would be 2-8. Seattle's 28. The Vikings are 5-10 versus the Seahawks. If they won, they'd get that 6th win in Week 13. But Seattle 28-82. We just saw Russell Wilson become 8-2 on Monday Night Football against the 49ers, improving to 8-2 for the season. That 82 really plays with Seattle. It's just like when Pete Carroll became the winningest coach with Seattle. It was his 82nd win, and then the owner of the team died right after that. Caller?
Hey, Zach, so the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, they're actual bets for the Bengals to finish the season without a win, like futures for that. But it's the money they have. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna probably win one. But the Bengals, they actually they rotating quarterbacks. They had the backup quarterback now for this week against the Jets. Andy Dalton is back as starting as their quarterback.
Right.
So, and also, I don't know if this was said before. Currently, the Bengals are 0-11. If they win 1-11, 1-11, the New York number.
Right. Yeah, we've definitely been talking about that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, putting money on the Bengals, I know it's kind of hard. 11, losing game streak. I guess, and it's just crazy how the odds, how Vegas always slants towards their way, and the Jets won 4 games, and it's like what? There's no positives for you to bet, on the Bengals.
Yeah, that's why that's not that great of a game, because it's not a good payout.
And it doesn't make any sense. Does not make sense. How can they must know something.
Right.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Izzy.
All
right, see you, man. Okay, so this Vikings game right now, Vikings-Seahawks. Vikings are 6-2 in the conference. Minneapolis equals 62. Seahawks are 6-1 in the conference. Minnesota, we typically talk about the 52 connection, but it does have one E in it, so it's plus 18 in reverse. And that means I can't do math, doesn't it? Yeah, never mind. I got to take this off. Minnesota would be 70, not 71. Okay. So if the Seahawks lost, they would be 6-2 in the conference. They don't call them the Minneapolis Vikings, but that is their home city. This game is on a 26 date numerology. It seems like 26 shows up quite a bit with the Seahawks just because it's the 206 area code. So if Cousins lost, he would get his 26th away loss. Hold on. The date numerology is 17 and 26. Never mind, that could go either way. But that 26 does show up a lot with the Seahawks. If Cousins lost, he'd be 1-3 versus Seattle. That really stands out in light of it being week in 13. If Cousins lost at Seattle, he'd be 1-2. Vikings is 37, the 12th prime. If the Vikings did win, they would be 4-3 away. Seattle Seahawks is 43. And I forget, who did the Vikings play after this? They got one more away game. Vikings is 44 if they split their last 2 away games. Well, they got Los Angeles. If they won their last two, they could become 5-3 away by beating Los Angeles. Los Angeles equals 53. Last away game. They would be 5-3 if they won last two. And Vikings equals 44. They would be 4-4 if they split last two. Okay. For Wilson, he's on 52 wins. Minnesota 52. The game is on a date with 53 numerology. Chance to get that 53rd win or to sit on 52 against Minnesota. He's on 38 regular season losses. Could stay on the 38 regular season losses by winning. Minnesota in 38. Big combo. His next win at home is 48. Seahawks is 48. Doesn't have to come in this game. I see one other thing about his all-time stats if he lost. He could get his 44th all-time loss. Vikings is 44. So is Seattle. And I guess I'll note the Seattle thing too. Because I guess he would pick that up in Seattle. Let's see. MNF is also 48. So if Wilson won, he'd get his 48th home win on Monday Night Football. He'd improve to 9-2 on Monday Night Football. Wilson's 4-0 versus Minnesota. This is the concern here for him. If he loses, he's 4-1, like 41 the 13th prime in week 13. And Carroll, he could get his 99th win with the Seahawks. 13's 99. If he stayed on 98 wins, though, Vikings is 98, like how they hosted the Super Bowl in the 98th season. And let's see. If the Seahawks did lose, they would be 3-3 at home on MNF 33. So, oh, you know what else would go with the Monday Night Football? Monday Night Football equals 93. If the Seahawks lost, they would be. It does have an H in it, so it's also 102. Minneapolis, Minnesota's 93. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. The Vikings could get their 6th win with the ref. They're 5-3 with him. Seahawks are 3-6 with this ref. Vikings is 37. It does have an S though, so it's also 46. Okay. The Seahawks are 98-43 in this stadium. If they lost, they would be 98-44. Vikings is 98-44. And the Vikings are 1-4 at the stadium. If they won, they'd be 2-4. Seahawks is 24. But again, with Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football, I'd wait till the other games conclude to try to get that last clue. It has been helpful in several weeks. So again, let's take it from the top real quick. Let me update this real quick. Just make sure all those notes are saved in there. Okay, let's go from the top. Quick review. So Jets and Bengals, you know, to bet on the Bengals, you'd probably want more value. It's not out of the question that the Bengals get their first win to improve to 1-11 because New York's 1-11, a number that plays a lot with New York. If the Jets lost, they'd be 4-8. New York Jets is 48, but it is also 57. Adam Gase is 48. If the Jets lost, they'd be 1-5 away. Ohio 47, the 15th prime. You just saw the Ohio State coach in the big win today get his 15th straight win. Harbaugh stayed on 47 wins with Michigan. It was also Harbaugh's 64th game with Michigan and Michigan 64, so you couldn't have got a more perfect Ohio-Michigan ritual in Harbaugh's stats. Just shows you how fixed it all is. But the concern with the Jets is if they win, they're 2-4 away. Bengals is 24. Bengals is 24. And Darnold's coming back in this week. The date numerology and the week number is not looking good for the Bengals for the head-to-head. That's a concern for the Bengals. The conference records, if the Bengals won, both teams would be 1-7 in the conference. Ohio, the 17th state. Harbaugh today got his 17th loss as the coach at Michigan, losing to Ohio State. Dalton comes back in today. It's his 132nd game. New York Jets is 132. It's 33 days after his birthday. New York 33. If Dalton wins, he gets his 68th win and his 38th home win against Darnold. Darnold's 68. Sam Darnold's 38. So it almost seems like, I mean, that looks really good right there for the Bengals. Looking at Dalton. Again, Zach Taylor's looking for that first win. He'd be 1-11 versus New York. Also, because it's Week 13, Bengals can get that 6th home loss. So anyway, I'd probably forego this game. There's not enough value to take the risk in the Bengals, in my opinion. I do think the Bengals have a good shot to win. It's just, like Izzy said, it's hard to put your money on the Bengals, and there are a few things there that could go for the Jets. I just think there's better games. You can build a decent parlay this week. One thing that is nice for the Bengals is if they do win, they're 6-2 with the ref number 62, and those ref numbers definitely play a factor. Also, that ref number 62, his name's Ron Torbert, which equals 62. Jets can become 1-3 at the Bengals Stadium in Week 13 as well. So that's that game. Titans and Colts. A lot of 13s line up in favor of the Colts, and the most obvious of which is the division records. If the Titans lose, they're 1-3 in the division. And if the Colts win, they're 4-1 in the division, like 41 the 13th prime. There's more 13s besides that, too. Tannehill can become 1-3 at the Colts. Vrabel, the coach of the Titans, can get his 13th loss. So I love the way all that 13 stacks against the Titans. I wish Brissett was going for his 13th win, but that's okay. All those 13s for the Colts look good. The Eagles and Dolphins, 13's the 6th prime. I'm thinking teams that can get to 6-6 this week. The majority of them do it. So Eagles getting to 6-6 in Week 13. I think that's the most likely outcome here. Fitzpatrick does have a couple things that could go his way. But you know what? Fitzpatrick had a great riddle last week to beat the Browns. That game wasn't a one-way street, but Fitzpatrick had a lot that lined up to beat the Browns last week, and he did not. He got smoked on his birthday. So anyway, I'm thinking the 6-6 in Week 13, most likely scenario. Dolphins fall to 1-6 at home on the 16-date numerology. The Packers and Giants, there's a chance the Giants upset the Packers. They would be 3-9, New York 39. We know all about it. But the 13 that plays in this game is with the Packers. They can get the 6th conference win, Week 13, the 6th prime. Rodgers can become 4-1 versus the Giants, like 41 the 13th prime. Green Bay's 41. And also, we saw how if the Packers win this week, it sets them up for their next game at Minnesota to become 5-2 at Minnesota, where 52 plays all the time. If they beat Minnesota, they can become 6-2 at Detroit. Detroit 62. So there are a few concerns here with the Packers, but I'm thinking ultimately because the 13 favors them, I'm taking the 13s this week, the 13 connections. Browns and Steelers, if the Browns win, they're 6-6. If the Steelers lose, they're 6-6. Again, 13 the 6th prime. Two teams on Thursday hit the 6-6. And the Browns play Cincinnati next week. Cincinnati 66. They'd also become 3-3 away. Cleveland 33. Steelers established in 33. And Mayfield can stay on 13 losses plus become 5-8 away. Pittsburgh's 58. Somebody called in and said Hodges, the third-string quarterback for the Steelers, his name equals 58. So I'm favoring the Browns here. There's a few other things that look good for the Browns if you want to go over the notes. The stadium is what's favorable for the Steelers, but again, I'm going to pretend like I don't even know about the stadium. The information is there. Panthers, I think the Panthers, they're a 10-point favorite, though, so they're a pretty big favorite. But I think they're one of the safer games of the week, getting to 6-6. That looks good. Haskins falling to 1-3 in Week 13. And what else was there? I swear there was something else. Oh, yeah, the Panthers can become 3-6 in the conference. Redskins 36, so I like the way all that lines up. Bucks and Jags is dicey. If the Bucks do lose, though, they'd be 3-4 away, and then their next away game's against Detroit, and it looks perfect for them to beat Detroit in that game to become 4-4. Detroit's 44. Detroit would fall to 2-5 at home. Tampa Bay 25. So I'm thinking that that's the likely progression. Bucks lose at Jags and then beat Detroit. But again, when you go through these numbers, there are some things here that make it a little bit dicey. The Bucks do have a chance to become 1-3 at the Jaguars in Week 13. That gives me a little apprehension. Winston, though, can get that 41st loss, 41 the 13th prime. Foles can become 16-9 at home, 169 square root 13. So the 13s with the quarterbacks make sense with the Foles win. Also, if the Jaguars win, hosting the Chargers next week, they'd have the right home record to face the Chargers. 49ers and Ravens. Again, the Ravens are on fire. Really hard to go against them. If they win, they're 5-1 at home, and the 49ers are 5-1 away, just like how the Ravens beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl, making them 5-1. There's a couple riddles that go both ways, but this is how the Ravens games have been lately, and the Ravens have been just demolishing teams. So, I mean, the 49ers defense would have to show something that nobody's showing this year, because, I mean, Lamar Jackson's seemingly been unstoppable. So, one thing for the 49ers is they could become 6-0 away. Again, Week 13, the 6th prime. But I'm thinking Lamar Jackson gets it done, becomes 9-1 at home, like 91 the 13th triangular number. We already saw the 16-3 pattern hit with Garoppolo this year. Jackson can become 16-3 in the regular season. And let's see. Yeah, so I am leaning Ravens here. I mean, they're looking more and more like the team each week. Did I write down the Raven equals 93? Because I know we talked about that at other places. If the Ravens did lose, they would be 9-3. They are named after the poem The Raven. Somehow I didn't write that down. Here, I'll write it down. The Raven equals 93. Ravens named after the Raven. They could fall to 9-3. Okay, and then Rams and Cardinals. This one's dicey. The Rams are another team that can fall to 6-6, 13 the 6th prime, LA 13. And then when you look at the division record, Cardinals could become 1-3 in the division in Week 13, LA's 13, Week 13. Rams, though, in the conference, if they win, they're 5-3, like Los Angeles is 53. 53 is the 16th prime. It's a 16-date numerology. Goff, his numbers with the loss, though, are a little bit more 13-ish. He'd be 17-9 away all time. 179 is the 41st prime. 41 is the 13th prime. In the regular season with a loss, he'd be 16-9. 169 has a square root of 13. And then there's nothing real clear on the Cardinals side other than possibly becoming 1-3 in the division. So I would look at what the value is, what your thing's paying for a Cardinals win. If you want to mix them in with, I'd take these stronger reads and build your parlay around that. There's a good 3-team parlay this week, maybe a good 4-team parlay. And then if you want to, build on that and try to multiply it further, you could build some separate cards. Cardinals would obviously be the better payout here. So there's more value in the Cardinals, who have a pretty decent riddle to win. But again, it's not a one-way street. It's just like if the Rams won, they would be 7-5. Arizona Cardinals is 75 in the most pure cipher. But if the Rams do lose, they are 3-3 away. Cowboys is 33, and that's who they play at next. They play at the Cowboys next. They go in with a 3-3 record. Dallas Cowboys, well, and again, just not to skip over things, Arizona's 42, so if they win, they're 4-2 away. Arizona 42, they're 7-5. Arizona Cardinals 75. I mean, their record would be a major Arizona tribute with the win. That's why it's tough. So the immediate record probably looks a little bit better for the Rams with the win. So dicey game. Chargers and Broncos. The 13s can hit on both sides here with the division record. If the Chargers win, they're 1-3 in the division. If the Broncos lose, they're 1-3 in the division. LA 13, week 13, so I like that. Broncos can also get their 6th loss in the conference, 13 the 6th prime. And I think I forgot to mention some things when we went over this. If Rivers wins, he would be 8-6 at Denver. Broncos equals 86. He's 13-15 versus the Broncos. It is week 13. It is a 16-date numerology, so I mean that would be the concern. But don't forget that Colorado is 43, the 14th prime. This could possibly be Rivers' last season. Could get his 14th win in Colorado. But ultimately, I love how the division records line up on both sides in week 13 with the Chargers win, vengeance game for the loss earlier this season, and Allen can also fall to 1-3 as a starter. The Broncos starter, 1-3 in Week 13 against LA. Broncos would be 2-4 at home. They host the Lions next week. Lions 24. And the stadium again. Yeah, that's why I wish I didn't even look at the stadium. But the Chargers record at the stadium is a little bit cause for concern. But again, the stadium only seemed to be on point the first week we looked at it. Still haven't looked at it long enough to know. Raiders and Chiefs. Raiders are another team that can hit the 6-6 mark. 13 the 6 prime. Chiefs can become 6-3 in the conference, get that 6th win in week 13. And I like that Mahomes can become 9-3 at home. Oakland Raiders is 93, so is Gruden. I think the Chiefs will win their last 3 games to get to 5-3 at home for the season. Their last home games against Los Angeles 53, that special number. Carr can get his 31st away loss. Chiefs is 31. He'd be 14-31 away. KC 14, Chiefs 31. He could also get his 6th loss at KC in week 13. 13 the 6th prime. The best riddle going for the Raiders is Gruden getting his 106th win in the regular season, 106 days after his birthday. But, again, things like that actually line up a good deal and don't come through. So it is there, but I think all these other riddles are better. Gruden can get his 99th regular season loss just as well. When you write out 13, it's 99. Arrowhead Stadium's 99. Patrick Mahomes has the 99 connection. Big number there with the Chiefs. Tom Brady last year got his 99th career away win in the AFC Championship at Arrowhead Stadium. So that 99 in Arrowhead plays. If the Raiders did upset, they would be 1-3 with this ref in Week 13. Oakland's 41 the 13th prime. If the Chiefs win, they're 3-2 with this ref. Kansas City and Chiefs both 32. And I'm gonna take the Chiefs. The only thing that's a little bit worrisome is Gruden, but quite a bit more lines up for the Chiefs here. And let's see. Patriots and Texans, I'm going to wait till the day games conclude. My theory is that going into this game, one of two things are going to happen. Either the Texans can win and make home team 6-6 for Sunday. Houston Texans is 66. Or home teams will be 6-5 coming into this game, and if the Texans lose, home teams will be 6-6. Pretty sure that's how it's going to line up, because it would just be a perfect tribute for Week 13, the 6th prime with the Houston Texans hosting. So let me let's see. Okay. All right, so that's the review. I'm going to go back in and fill out all the pick information, say which games I like the most and why, do what I do every week. If there's a game I'm neutral on, I'll if I write neutral as the first word, it means I would just stay away from the game. I'll still write my thoughts, but I'll explain why I'm neutral on it. So, anyway, we're off to a good start this week. Did well Thursday, so let's keep it going. And going to try to play it safe again this week. We've had a really great week Monday through Friday. We've done well every single day. And anyway, want to rebound from last Sunday because obviously last Sunday was the biggest disappointment in the past month. Worst football day ever. So get it back this week, playing it safe, and going with the strongest picks on the board. Let me check in with the chat before we wrap it up. Let's see. Pump says he'd do a small parlay with the Raiders to try to get that big payout. Yeah, that's a thought. I mean, they do have a prayer, but yeah, that would be the way to play the Raiders if you wanted to take that Gruden narrative. Let's see. Okay. All right, you guys, we can leave it there. I'm going to update the notes. They are posted on the Patreon wall. And be back Monday with the next live stream. Again, we're not doing live streams on Sunday. So we'll wrap it up there. Have a good rest of your day. And good luck tomorrow. Until next time.